Here we have the zodiac part two, focusing on Taurus and Nat Sulf. So here we are in this beautiful wheel right here, Na2SO4, Nat Sulf. Here are some various versions of the Taurus glyph. Here we're looking at Venus, and Taurus is correlated with Venus. We have the Roman goddess of love and beauty, and in the Greek mythos, she is called Aphrodite. This is the planet of paradoxical femininity, both a morning star and evening star, and this can relate to worth and value of self and in connection with others, a twinning, like Taurus, Libra, feminine, masculine, this twinning effect. There's layers because Gemini is also twinning, but just let's stay here. Venus is the brightest planetary body after the sun, which is connected with gold, and the moon, which is connected with silver. So it is therefore paired with the third metal, copper. I don't know why I said that. The moon. Taurus can hold certain principles just like Venus: worth, values, art, aesthetics, relationships with self, with others, with nature, etc. Money, material worth. Copper. Taurus is connected to the mineral copper. Copper comes from the Latin word cuprum, which is connected to Cyprus, a land known in ancient texts for its copper content. That's much of what you would see if you looked into older mining and trades, Cyprus with copper. Copper is soft, highly electrically conductive. Venus as our copper twinned mirror. Copper is one of the few metals that can occur in nature in a directly usable metallic form and is one of the few metallic elements with a natural color other than gray or silver. It is said to be the first metals to be smited into sulfide ores, to be cast into a shape with a mold, to be purposely alloyed with another metal, tin, to create bronze. Copper salts are involved in the creation of colors in crystals like azurite, malachite, and turquoise. It is also said that women have about 20% higher copper serum in their blood compared to men. I don't know. These are some benefits of copper, although you want to be mindful of not overdoing it on copper. Try not to lead with fear in all of this, but choose for yourself. And like I will continue to say, take it with a grain of salt or sugar or sand. Well, I don't know if you want to eat sand, silica, whatever. Okay. Stimulates the brain, boosts immunity and energy, maintains hair pigmentation, skin and eye color, helps in the absorption of iron and red blood cell formation. There's a lot of stuff. I put some stuff in the comment section of this series with Taurus, but in the biochemic lore. Um, but it's interesting to explore copper. You could say there's a lot of theories on what we are most deficient in. And so again, like I said, that we can actually have too much copper as well. And there is some sweetness to a balance that isn't about knowing it all. And that is, I feel, what has sort of like been lost here is like there's just all there, like there's just such, I won't go on a rant here. But confidence is great to have, and yet maybe self-esteem is more important to a degree, and that you can come off all sorts of ways to other people, but confidence can give off the air of something being factual when it's just confidence. It's a con of phi density. I'll shut up now, though. Copper can be found in cashews, mushrooms, sunflower seeds, potatoes, dark chocolate, tofu, pork, seafood, beef, eggs, liver, oysters. Taurus with Venus as a morning star and an evening star. So Libra is included in this as well. And some might say one is the morning star and one is the evening star. I'm not here to tell you which is what and who is who. But the morning star could be Lucifer and the evening star Vesper. There's many different ways we could look at it. If you wanted to look at your own natal chart or someone else's, not my business, you could see if you have a morning or evening star in your chart. And I worded it a couple different ways here, but I don't really always understand English. And so sometimes even when I try to be clear, it's a damn riddle. And so maybe I can help with this if people wanted me to. Otherwise, it's not that hard to figure out. I have some visuals here. And then the first thing I said, if Venus is positioned counterclockwise from the sun or at a later zodiac sign, your Venus type is an evening star. If your Venus is clockwise from your sun or at an earlier zodiac sign, so clockwise and counterclockwise when you're looking at a natal chart wheel, whatever it's called, you're a morning star Venus. So, for example, I have a Taurus sun and my Venus is in Gemini. I have an evening star Venus. Um, Continuing on here, I am not going to read, I wrote it here, not reading all of this to remind myself that I'm not reading all of it. So please go check out the Law of Correspondence if you want to. Maybe I'll record it in a different post, or maybe I will. Maybe I will read it. Should I read it? It's pretty long. I'm not going to read it. I don't feel like it. Taurus alchemy, congelation and transformation. Congelation is the process by which something congeals or thickens into a new pattern or blueprint. This increase in viscosity is to reassemble parts into a different energetic pattern, thus transforming it. This is achieved through a reduction in applied heat or through the result of the bodily chemical reactions caused by the changes in temperature. This is a natural result of the vacillation of active Kundalini liquid fire. I keep thinking about if never mind, let me not. Well, like, wouldn't it be? No, don't. Just, okay, sorry, focus. Sometimes the increase in viscosity is great enough to crystallize or solidify the new element or new substance. In spiritual alchemy, congelation is one of the vital processes for material bodily transformation to occur. This is a process of spiritual integration of the reassembled parts or required patterns the Kundalini or spirit has newly created in the layers of the body consciousness. Congelation is the ancient alchemical term for the modern crystallization. Maybe I switched that up, but either words, congelation used to be called crystallization. And so I said, I'm not going to read this and I will just read this part. That which is expressed from the inner world is matched in what expresses in the outer world and vice versa. There's always a correspondence which can be observed in patterns between the natural laws of consciousness that exist simultaneously in the multiple dimensional planes of being and life. As above, so below, as below, so above. What is manifested in the material world reflects the quality of the thought behind the pattern from the unmanifest layers. This principle also states that there is a correspondence between multiple planes of reality which may form into integrated and harmonious interactions, delineated as the physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual planes at the individual or microcosmic and collective macroscopic levels. If we want to understand more about the causal reality and events happening around us, we look at the macrocosm to the microcosm and the microcosm to the macrocosm, and we observe the interconnections and the patterns that are present there. To understand the nature of problems and life lessons, we look beyond the linear thinking of the issue. Instead, we look at what exists in the energetic layers that created it to see the patterns and the shadows of what generated that situation. If we want to see the accumulated thought forms that we have created and organization, if we want to reverse engineer something that has manifested, we look for the correspondences. So I will not read any more here. And what I was going to say about Kundalini is it would be a great, like, maybe drag name or just like a character who's like Kundalini. And that's where I'm going to end this video.